Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Layman's Terms. Today we're talking about the Messiah complex. Before we dive into that, as always, I want to remind you to subscribe. If you find our videos helpful, please share them with your friends and consider making a tax-deductible donation. So, the Messiah complex. What is it? The term Messiah complex describes a person who believes they are the Messiah, the Christ, or the Son of God. This belief typically involves a person claiming that they are the reincarnation of a religious figure such as Jesus Christ, but not necessarily Jesus specifically. It could be a reincarnation of any kind of religious figure. This belief often leads to grandiose ideas of importance and omnipotence, and can result in dangerous behavior. We tend to think of people who believe they are the Messiah as being mentally unstable, and we tend to be right. Some of the characteristics of a person with a Messiah complex include severe narcissism, delusions of grandeur, a need for admiration, a sense of being special and unique, and having a strong need for control over others. These characteristics are similar to those of other personality disorders, including narcissistic personality disorder. There have been quite a few people throughout history who believed themselves to be the Messiah. One famous example is the Russian revolutionary Grigory Rasputin, who believed he was the Antichrist. There are also many examples of people who believed themselves to be the Messiah in the New Testament. For example, there were false messiahs during the time of Jesus, such as the one mentioned in Matthew 24, "Then will come the end of the age, and the kingdom of heaven will be like a man who went out to his fields to hire laborers. When it was evening, he gathered up the laborers and paid them their wages. And when he had paid those who had been hired last, he went and gave the first also the same pay. So when those who had been hired first saw this, they became angry and said, 'Sir, you hired us first. Shouldn't we get more money than they do? After all, we worked for you the whole day long.' But he said to one of them, 'Friend, I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for me for the usual wage when you first signed the contract? I'm not going back on my word.'" One of the most common misconceptions about the Messiah is that they will be wealthy. This idea likely stems from the Old Testament prophecies that foretold the Messiah would be a descendant of David, implying royalty. However, the New Testament clearly states that the Messiah would be humble and ride into Jerusalem on a donkey, not a war horse. The false messiahs of Jesus' day likely believed they were the Messiah because they were wealthy and powerful. In contrast, Jesus was poor and rejected worldly power. Those who have a Messiah complex usually have no problem claiming that they are the Messiah while simultaneously rejecting the claims of others who also believe they are the Messiah. They will claim that they are the only true Messiah, yet they are typically unaware of any irony in doing so. What causes the Messiah complex? It is most likely a combination of factors that cause someone to believe they are the Messiah. These factors can include an individual's personality, their psychological state, and even their cultural background. Many times, a traumatic event in a person's life can cause them to develop a Messiah complex. For example, it could be something like being abused or neglected as a child. How is the Messiah complex treated? People who suffer from the Messiah complex often won't seek help because they don't believe there is anyone who could help them. They may see themselves as being beyond help, which is a common characteristic of those with narcissistic tendencies. However, if they do seek help, then therapy can be effective. Therapy can help them to identify the root of their beliefs and develop healthier thought patterns. I know this might seem like a lighthearted topic, but I want to emphasize that people who believe they are the Messiah often pose a danger to society. Take, for example, the Heaven's Gate cult. This cult believed that in order to reach the next level, they needed to shed their physical bodies, and that the only way to do that was to take their own lives. They believed that a spaceship was following the Hale-Bopp comet, and it was there to take their souls to the next level. At the end, 39 members of this cult took their own lives. Though this is an extreme example, it shows how dangerous people with a Messiah complex can be. If you are concerned about someone who may have a Messiah complex, it is important to seek professional help. With the right support, they can learn to challenge their beliefs and develop healthier coping mechanisms. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to a mental health professional today. And just a quick reminder, if you found our video helpful, Please share it with your friends and consider making a tax-deductible donation. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Layman's Terms.